Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. In today's video, we've got Lindsay on Chelsea Vaughn's podcast discussing her time on the show The Bachelor, what she thought about it, and very interesting conversation. Talked about pay transparency. I want to give a shout out to our friend Sarah, who gave me a bunch of timestamps to check out. She talked about not liking her time on The Bachelor, what she did afterwards, how long she stayed in law after being on the show. Very interesting stuff. Some stuff we haven't heard in normal podcasts. You know, when Rachel Lindsay's on a non-Bachelor podcast, she probably only gives the hits, the main aspects of the show. But because she's doing a interview with Chelsea Vaughn, they have a deeper talk about the show. And I know some naysayers, why is she talking about the show if she's no longer on it? Because it's part of her identity. It was a chapter in her life, and we're going to discuss that. Also, I want to wish everyone a happy Juneteenth Day, Freedom Day, commemorating the day on June 19th. Juneteenth means June 19th. They smushed it together. In 1865, when enslaved people of African descent in Texas finally gained their freedom. We remember them. We honor their memory. We celebrate freedom for all. We'll talk a little bit more about that on Bachelor Rush Hour, the podcast. As you guys know, the podcast gives us a little bit of a chance to have longer form conversations about things that tie into entertainment news and, of course, my commentary as I see it. Okay, well, let's jump right into it. So I've got a bunch of clips here. We're going to start at the, 13. No, I wanted to start at the 14-minute mark. Sorry, I should have had that pulled up. And we're going to go. And again, we love it when you support the full podcast. So do me a favor, hit subscribe on Chelsea's channel, or at the very least, leave a comment and tell her you heard us. You heard her conversation here on the Dave Neal on Bachelor Nation News.
Kind of misses how heavily involved you were in Bachelor franchise. Because
not at all. Not because here's the thing.
So Rachel, sorry, I cut off the question. Rachel Lindsay says she does not miss being involved in Bachelor Nation. Also, remember, Chelsea Vaughn was on Matt James' season. Rachel Lindsay was initially on Nick Viall's.
And not because I'm above it. I love reality TV.
Same.
I do a podcast that is all about Bravo shows, okay? Andy Cohen doesn't even introduce me as on the things that I do. He says, super Bravo fan, Rachel Lindsay. I love it. I am not above reality TV. I didn't watch The Bachelor before. It wasn't my cup of tea. So to have to watch the show after and be involved in comment, I never liked it. I never did. I have an appreciation for it because I understand it in a completely different way now, but it's just not my show. So I like not having to watch and be involved with it. That's all. It's not personal. It's just not my style.
And I struggle when I make these videos because I know some people in the comments section will just say such negative things about Rachel Lindsay. It's like she's just one of those characters on the show that people either really get her and enjoy her or they don't. But I have to say, I mean, there's nothing negative about what she's saying. She's like, which was the show I watched. You know what I mean? It's just not for me.
Yeah.
I don't watch any of the love shows except Love is Blind. I watched for the first time this season. I don't watch Love Island. I don't watch The Circle. Is that even a love show? I don't watch any of them. So it's not even particular to The Bachelor. I don't watch 90 Day Fiancé, any of it. None of it.
Wait, that's so funny because we're absolutely opposite because I love reality TV also, but it's all the love shows. Like I'm Love Island, Love is Blind. What's the other one? Married at First Sight. And I don't watch the Bravo ones or like Selling Sunset. I'm the love show girl. And I did watch The Bachelor.
Selling Sunset. So to each their own. So that's why I have a quick no. It's not even all that I dealt with, even though I don't want to deal with the audience because it's just I got to a point where there's just such the negativity just became so loud that I wanted to step away. But I also just don't like the show.
Yeah.
I think what she's trying to say is she doesn't like the show. I think we get the point there. Okay, let's go to the 2040 mark here and check out the next clip.
And I think that no, my homegirl and I from the show, Ashton and I always say you can't buy cool. Like you can't be like. I hate when people make drinking a personality. I hate when people make one thing like The Bachelor, whatever. You were a whole person before you came on this show. Yeah. Why is now this the only thing that's defining you? I don't like that because you're lame. I'm sorry. You are. Now you have to use, I did start out using what people knew of me. And I think that was important. So 2 things. I didn't shut down The Bachelor and say, I'm too good for it. I'm the first Black Bachelorette. I don't need this. People know me as The Bachelorette. I have a connection to this. So I'm going to build my brand off of certain things that are about me and The Bachelorette. So
now, to defend lame people, because we don't know who she's talking about, not everybody has a skill set that makes them thrive on social media. Not everybody's personable and charismatic and can host red carpet events and things like that. So I don't know if people's personality changes after they go on the show. I have no idea. I just have to imagine if you're the type who doesn't have, say, a strong niche that, type of content you cover after, maybe you only post Instagram photos of you out at the bar with your friends because that's the only time you post photos. I don't know. So I don't know if that makes other people lame. And again, I'm not really sure who she's talking about. Let's finish the clip and maybe we can get some clues.
One thing that I think a lot of people coming off the show get caught up in is they don't have a vision of where they want to go and what they want to be. It's like, oh, I want to host, or, oh, I want to act. And there's no like, okay, so how am I going to make that happen? That's the end goal. What are the steps that I need to do to get there? A lot of times it's easy so much. When you come off the show, so much is thrown at you. Yep. And it's easy to take the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to be on this show. I'm going to just take every deal that comes my way rather than not being afraid to say no, because there is the desire to want to be relevant and keep that relevancy going because in 6 months another group is coming in.
That's fascinating. It's a fascinating way to look at it. And it does show that some people do come off desperate after being on the show. We love to talk about, the influencer culture and how it pertains to these contestants. But yeah, if you don't strike while the iron is hot, you will be replaced. Rachel Lindsay's lucky that she was not just on the show, The Bachelor, but also became a lead of the show. So she was able to acquire a very large following that a lot of contestants aren't getting anymore. And I'm not saying that that's like unearned or whatever, but there was a heyday where, if you were Hannah Brown or Rachel Lindsay, you'd get up to high 6 figures, 7 figures. And now, and maybe this will change, but like Zach Shell-Cross could only get a couple 100,000 Instagram followers. So brands just wouldn't give him the opportunities that others were given. But you do have to, she does offer great advice that if you go on the show, what do you want to become? You could go on the show and want to become a bikini top designer, and that's all you focused on, and that'd be great. But if you go on the show and they're just, rudderless in your direction, like anything in life, how is the universe going to know what to give you if you don't know what you want? And I think the funny part is that people go on the show because they don't know what they want. They usually don't have, and again, this actually isn't Rachel because she had she was a practicing lawyer. But a lot of people go on the show because they don't have a clear direction in life, and they go, well, I guess I'll kill some time and pick up some Instagram followers. But then when the show's over, they still don't have a direction they want to go in, and not everybody's built out to be a host or a power podcaster or whatever.
And say, I want to be on TV. You have such a cool job. I want to do what you do. And I'm like, if you saw me, I just got this. I got, first off, it's been 6 years since I've been off The Bachelorette and 7 since The Bachelor. So this didn't just happen for me.
Okay, so Rachel's speaking to the idea that people see where you are, not how you got there. And they say, oh my gosh, I want everything you have. And you go, hold on a second. You don't know what that was like. A lot of people will get, when they find out how much my channel makes, they'll kind of get weird about it. And they'll be like, oh, so yeah, you make all this money, blah, blah, blah. They don't think about the years spent minimum wage jobs and driving Uber and taking gigs and auditioning and practicing my craft, and the 7 years of never making a penny on my other podcast, and all the little things that help sort of build the wiring. We talk about this. There's a book called The Talent Code, and it's about the idea. This is a side tangent here for anyone who's trying to build a creative life or something you want. You have to get your brain hardwired to think a certain way, to act a certain way, to be good at what you do. And that's not something that normally comes supernatural for people. There'll be natural aspects of maybe being charismatic or conversational or inquisitive about certain things that can help you with whatever career you want to get into. But then you have to work on that. Not many people come out of the womb as virtuosos. So when you see someone like Rachel Lindsay, who seems to have it all together, it's like, hold on a second. Imagine how long and hard she spent learning law to become a lawyer, studying the bar, working and prosecuting her points, and all the mock trial aspects of that, how that applies to where she is now. She wasn't just gifted this. She had everything she needed so that when the opportunity came, she opened the door.
I went back and practiced law for 2 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like after the Bachelorette, I didn't finish. I was still an attorney. I was in trial as I was being announced for the Bachelorette. And then I didn't stop practicing till like the very end of December of 2018. So 2019, I started fresh. But I went back, and I think that's a lot that people don't see. They just see what I'm doing now, and they don't realize I didn't get a full-time job on TV until 4 years after The Bachelor, the first time people saw me. So like it takes time to build it. And you just have to trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and just really stay dedicated to that.
Yeah.
It's great advice. This is really good advice, guys. I mean, you know, this idea that we have that you just like go viral on TikTok and make it or whatever. Every comedian I know knows this. I'm 11 years into stand-up, and things are starting to go well. August 24th, I'll be in Seattle. I've got other show days, but I'll have those ticket links up pretty soon. We're gonna have a good meet and greet after. But it is true, the iceberg. It is mainly under the surface. It is the work you do when no one's watching. It is those blood, sweat, and tears, crying, calling your mom, having friends that believe in you, but rooting you on. It is that marathon that when you do cross the finish line, somebody goes, hey, so-and-so got that, the privilege to have that. And you go, okay, if that's what you want to think, sure, but that's not going to get you any closer to your finish line. All right, let's go to pay transparency. And again, great interview. Chelsea does a great job of providing a good landscape here for Rachel to share. A very good interview she's doing. And I don't know about Chelsea's podcast at all, but I'd love to, we're definitely going to keep it on the radar and check it out because she's doing a great job. Even for a Zoom interview, it's very high quality. Very high quality stuff.
But we're kind of like three of us are all women of color. We're all creators now. And so last night we were literally just like sipping wine and talking about like how there's really not a lot of pay transparency as far as like being a creator and stuff and being in the entertainment industry. And so I just love to talk about it anytime I came on the podcast because I'm just like, I feel like there's power in speaking about it. And we have no idea what other people are getting paid a lot of times in like influencing. So like we were just talking about money and stuff. And I asked them about you and I asked like because they're both fans of you. But I was like, what would you want to hear from Rachel Lindsay? And they were like, I would love to hear about like how as a woman of color, you make sure that like you're getting paid what you're worth in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I agree with you about pay transparency. Like, I wouldn't say it on a microphone because, like, I don't know if the other correspondent down the hall is getting paid what I am.
Yeah.
But I would tell you on a one-off conversation.
Right.
And I think that there should be more than that because let's just say I make $20,000 on an Instagram post. Why would I not tell you that? That's not going to stop me from getting it. That's just going to let you know what you need to. It's like.
Well, Rachel, I'll tell you, it's because employers don't want us to know, so they've shamed us into not discussing our pay, our salary, and all that. I've said this before. I'd go on certain podcasts and talk about this, but there's no real financial benefit for me to talk about it here. It's only going to weaponize the people that don't like my channel to be like, oh, can you believe, whatever. But either way, I have been I'll promote it. I have been discussing this to an extent on Bachelor Rush Hour podcast. So if you check out Bachelor Rush Hour podcast, I will give you some pay transparency on that episode today. I'm going to write it down right now. So as I talk this afternoon, I'll give you some information about how the podcast has been doing and all of that. Because I think it is good. I think it's inspiring for others to hear like, oh, you can go out on your own, build your own thing. Employers always make money off of you. It's called renting out your time. When you work for someone else, you're renting out your time. So if you're able to build a bigger following, you're able to control the medium and the platform that you have, and that's very valuable to people. Very valuable. But I understand why Rachel wouldn't share that publicly because she makes a ton of money. And that gets really weird to people. If Rachel tells you she makes $750,000 a year, it's probably higher than that. It's probably over $1 million. because she's got sponsorship deals, podcasts. So if she tells you that, you're going to get weirded out by that. Oh, you don't like the show The Bachelor that made you a millionaire? You know what I mean? People get weirded out by that because they're not, they might be in a place where they're in a rigged sort of system where they're not getting paid well. I get it, folks. We've all been there.
It doesn't stop your money. And I wish people would see that. I'm so open, like off mic, I would tell you all of that. Now, I'm not going to on mic because there's a difference. But you're right. Like in a one-on-one conversation, you should do that more
But
often.
that does also prove Chelsea's point that there isn't pay transparency, because all of the people that want to know, like, what should I make if I have X amount of followers? Like, not many people talk about that when they're doing well. But again, I understand Rachel's point. She's operating within the world where she can't share that information, probably legally.
What was your question though about you asked me?
Yeah, how do you make sure that like you're kind of getting paid what you're worth? Obviously, you have a team, but still, it's like sometimes even when I have a team and I know my manager fights hard for me and everything else, it's like if I can't compare myself to a white blonde girl that's doing the exact same campaign, like I never ever feel comfortable knowing like, am I getting shorted?
Well, you'll never know.
I know.
The thing is, you'll never know, and you just have to hope that the person who's negotiating for you does know what the rates are and does a good job for you. Because I was shocked. Like as women, people of color, we are not getting paid what white people are getting paid for their social media. And that was made clear to me when I was talking to an agent who represents a lot of people. And she was telling me that her clients make over $1 million. And I was like, I was the first Black Bachelorette. I have a pretty decent following, and I have never even made close to $1 million on social media ads. Or I'll even give Jason Tartik. I think he has a great podcast and the questions that he asks. And I don't listen all the time, but I see clips. And even the way he talks about, I got this 6-figure deal. I've had one. And that even came in pieces. So
I would challenge, because I can't compare this if we don't know. If there's no pay transparency, we can't do this. But I would love a line item of how much Rachel Lindsay made, what the sponsor was, how many followers she had, the engagement level versus Tyler Cameron, who made, $500,000 on a post or $250,000 or whatever. Let's do it. Open up those books. But if we don't talk about it, we really can't know that. But very interesting stuff right here. And what was I going to say about that? Yeah, like this is what I love about YouTube is that, and we'll wrap up on this. There is, like, I get paid based on the demographic that watches my channel. So that demographic, and I believe YouTube focuses more on gender and age. So I have a large percentage of women. It doesn't break it down based on ethnicity. I don't have any way of knowing ethnicity of people who watch my channel other than if I did a poll. So 92% of my audience are women. And actually because of that, I believe that they don't tell you this, but you can kind of like guess that I actually get paid higher than an all-male audience because women have higher purchasing powers. So for me, I don't have to worry about anything like that. Now, do I get paid more or less based on the color of my skin compared to other content creators? I'll tell you this: there are other white podcaster women that have the same management team that I have for the podcast. And I think we all get the same based on how many downloads we get. So that's what I know. But I can't tell you any more because I would just be guessing. Let me know what you guys think. It's a fascinating conversation. And please go check out Chelsea Vaughn's YouTube channel to listen to the full thing. We just wanted to play a snippet here. Go check out the full thing and make sure you're supporting the content creators out there when we watch, get to the original source, give it a like, give it all that, and give my video a like. We're having a hard time getting featured right now on YouTube's algorithm because it's the off season, and I'm going to have to start asking everybody to hit the like button an odd number of times. One time works just fine. You could do 3 or 11, but one time works just fine, and that'll really help YouTube go, okay, Dave Neal's got some good content over there, and then it'll push us to new people and help us all grow. All right, folks, more content coming to y'all right after this.